This is an energy of optimism. This is an energy of opportunity. This is an energy of looking forward to the future, a second chance to cultivate freedom, excitement, new possibilities. Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, August 16th, all the way through to Sunday, August 22nd of 2021. And this is an exciting week in the astrology, a lot of change in the air. We have Uranus stationing to go retrograde, and actually a really positive aspect with Mercury and with Mars. And so this is going to propel us forward into momentum, into taking the action that we need to take in order to make the changes that we truly desire in a certain area of our lives. The other big energy is the second full moon in the sign of Aquarius. I love this energy because this full moon is highlighting Jupiter. Jupiter is newly retrograding back into the sign of Aquarius, and this energy is not only the second full moon in a row in the sign of Aquarius, but it's also emphasizing this second chance to take hold of the opportunities that Jupiter is trying to present us with, in the sign of Aquarius. And so Jupiter is going to be giving us a second chance to cultivate freedom, excitement, new possibilities, and to take hold of these opportunities, like I mentioned before, that maybe we passed up, maybe we didn't have the ability to cultivate, maybe we didn't have the foresight to actually take advantage of during the first pass of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius, which occurred earlier this year, from December of 2020 through May of 2021. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you check out my video all about Jupiter retrograding back into Aquarius. This video is actually chock full of information about what's coming up, not just this month, but into the coming months until Jupiter moves back into Pisces at the end of December. And this is an energy that's really being highlighted and amplified in a big way this week because of this full moon. So if you haven't checked that video out, make sure that you do. But kind of going back to what we're talking about here with this full moon in Aquarius, this is an energy of optimism. This is an energy of opportunity. This is an energy of looking forward to the future and what we can create and cultivate as a collective and on an individual level. It might feel like we're being more restricted and that there's more fear and there's more, I would say, or there's less potential for freedom to be cultivated on a grander scale, but on an individual level, on a personal level, which is what this forecast is geared toward, there is an area of our lives where we are going to be liberated. We are going to take charge. We are going to assert our independence, and we are going to create the change that we want to see, not just in our own lives, but in the world at large. This is an energy that's not just about what's best for us, but it's about what's best for all concerned, all of humanity. And so before we get into that, for those of you who are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do a new weekly forecast every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and so you never want to miss an important astrology update. Even if you're not new to my channel, the way that I structure my videos is that I always begin with a 5 to 10 minute general forecast. Make sure you don't skip this because this provides an important context for the more specific discussion we'll be having when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when we do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the week ahead. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although this energy will be a little bit more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of each video, I do a 2 to 3 minute overview of next week's forecast, so make sure you stick around until the end if you're interested in that. So kind of getting back into the energy of the week ahead, Mercury and Mars are coming into an exact conjunction on Wednesday. Normally, this would be more difficult. It is going to be, when we have Mercury which rules communication. It rules conversations. It rules the way that we interact on an intellectual level with one another. With Mars, which is a very combative, very divisive, very intense, very strong-willed and self-serving sort of energy, it's fair to say that arguments might happen, disputes might happen, there might be some verbal altercations. However, in this particular circumstance, Mercury is at home and exalted in traditional astrology in its home sign of Virgo, right? And so Mercury loves, loves, loves to be in Virgo. This is where you can really get down to the nitty gritty. You can really hone in on the details. You can really figure things out on a very rational, sort of logical, linear level to make plans, to reorganize. When it comes to basically all of the changes, everything that you've been doing and working to kind of adjust and break free from and liberate yourself from over the course of this entire year with that Uranus square to Saturn that's been going on. This energy is highlighting that in a positive way because we're actually going to have Uranus stationing to go retrograde on Thursday. This is a big energy. And not only is it stationing to go retrograde, which amplifies the energy of Uranus, makes it stronger. Uranus rules change, disruption. It rules independence and sovereignty. It rules rebellion. It rules outside of the box thinking. It rules like this divine inspiration, these moments of awakening. It rules things that sort of rattle us on an individual and a societal level. And, this is an energy that's going to be amplified. Uranus is just sitting really still, closer to the earth, bright in the skies, all of these things. And so Uranus energy is going to be at the forefront already. But because it's going to be making a trine with this Mercury Mars energy, instead of it kind of being this like slow pace that it has been, because Uranus has been squaring Saturn, so it's kind of like we've been having to make small, very measured changes, so that way we don't mess up a good thing or rattle our foundations in a negative way. It's kind of like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like what have we created in our lives that has a really good foundation that we might have to break apart in order to facilitate the change that we actually really need in order to liberate ourselves, in order to cultivate more excitement, more freedom, in order to empower ourselves to live the life that we want to live in a very free and sovereign way. There's some stuff here that feels safe, that feels secure, that feels tried and true, that we've been kind of holding on to maybe very rigidly and very dogmatically in our lives, that we need to clear away in order to make space for these new beginnings, for these changes, for this more outside of the box energy, right? For what it is that we want to cultivate and develop, not just now, but into the future, because that's the energy also of Aquarius. It's very forward thinking. It's always looking to the future. It's always looking to, how what you're doing today is going to impact not just you, but everyone later on down the line. And so that's a big part of this too. But that Mercury Mars energy trining Uranus, this is what I'm kind of trying to get at here. It's a very quick, very acute sort of energy. This is where people are going to be making snap decisions. People are going to be jumping into new things left and right and all over the place, but it's going to be a good thing, you guys. And so when you feel that urge, when you feel that inspiration, where you feel that jolt of energy, that just, you need to take hold of this opportunity. You need to jump in. You need to change that thing, and you need to do it now. This is one of those weeks where you actually are supported in that. Impulsivity can actually have great rewards this week, so long as you're not completely neglecting the long-term outcomes, which I don't think you will be, even though this is an energy that's very quick and it has a very quick turnaround when it comes to changing and liberating ourselves and doing the things and disrupting our lives in the way that it needs to be disrupted. It's in a positive aspect with Uranus, and Uranus is in a fixed sign. So I don't think people are just going to be doing like crazy chaotic stuff in a negative fashion because these alignments are, pretty positive. And also we have the sun in opposition to Jupiter on the same day that we have Uranus stationing to go retrograde. And then Uranus is the dispositor of this full moon, this double full moon in Aquarius. There's a lot going on this week, you guys. And so, it also kind of carries the energy of the nature of this full moon, which is in a conjunction with Jupiter, the great benefic planet, right? And so, again, second chances with Jupiter in retrograde, good vibes, good energy, opportunities and optimism coming back online and coming back around. So you can take hold of that and create and facilitate the change that you need to create. And you can do it and do it quickly. It's not like this is something that you haven't been thinking about or working on or building toward up until this point, because you probably have. Most people are going to be making changes. It might seem like it's coming out of nowhere, but it's not. It's like, I have been harnessing this. I have been internalizing it. I've been cultivating it. I've been doing little things here and there to set all of the pieces where they need to go. So that way I can launch into this new paradigm. I can launch into this new foundation. But maybe, everyone didn't necessarily see it coming, because you've been doing it slowly, methodically, quietly, and now's the time where it's like loud, right? It's Mercury with Mars. You're doing it. You're saying what you need to say. You're speaking your mind. You're speaking your truth, and you're doing what you need to do, and you don't care anymore what other people think. You don't care about the rules. You don't care about the limitations. You don't care about, other people's limiting beliefs or the limitations they're placing on you, right? This is going to be a really empowering and liberating time for a lot of people who are at their wits' end, who have been really wanting to break free, but haven't had the ability to do so because of fear, because of responsibility, because of past burdens, because of dogmatic beliefs that maybe they needed to shift their mindset around, all sorts of things like that. So I do love this energy in a lot of ways. Like, this is a really great week, and this is a really, really great full moon. The full moon, by the way, is happening on Sunday, so it's at the very end of this week, but we'll be feeling it as early as Friday. You usually feel it 2 to 3 days before and after, and Friday is actually when we shift into the moon in the sign of Aquarius, because a lot of people always ask in the comments, when is this happening? And I usually say it very quickly, so I wanted to really drive that home. It's happening at the end of the week, but we'll start feeling it on Friday, if not a little bit earlier, because of that stationary Uranus energy. So this is a big shakeup. This is a big moment in time. This is a positive energy for a lot of people and for most people. And so take advantage of it while it's here. Don't let this just pass you by. If you need to shake yourself out of a rut, if you need to harness this energy of motivation to actually change, do it, right? Don't stay stuck. This is not the time to stay stuck. This is the time to take action. And so that is what I have for you for the general forecast for the week. So let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries and Aries rising. But before we do, I just want to mention quick announcement here. So my Astrology 101 PDF guide, for those of you who aren't already aware, I have a printable, but also, PDF, so you can download it. You don't have to print it. My audience likes things to be printable, though, I've learned. I pay attention to you guys. But I have the downloadable Astrology 101 quick reference guide. It covers the planets, the signs, the houses, the aspects, exaltations, falls, rulerships, all sorts of things. The big three, sun, moon, and rising. And so if you are looking for a handy reference guide to help you with your astrological studies, to help you understand the guidance that I'm giving you in these weekly forecasts, in my tutorials, this is the resource for you. It's completely free. You can download it at the link down in the description below. Also, my Cosmic Community is reopening on the 23rd of August. So right after this new moon or full moon, I'm harnessing the good vibes. I'm harnessing the good energy, especially the energy around collaboration and community and connecting with like-minded people, connecting with people in general. That comes with that Aquarian theme, right? And so the 23rd of August, right after the end of this week. I have a special surprise and present for you when it does get released. So mark your calendars, keep your eyes peeled. We're also doing a huge webinar all about career and vocational astrology in the cosmic community the following weekend. So next weekend on the 28th of August. And you guys are welcome to join in. You're encouraged to join in. You'll be able to join in. We're going to cover everything you need to know to align your career with the energy that you need in order to feel satisfied and successful, right? Even if you're just working a job because it's a job and your path, your purpose lies somewhere else, you still want to enjoy what it is that you're doing because you're going to be spending a lot of time on it, right? And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at career versus life's purpose. We're going to look at the nuances of choosing a path and incorporating certain energies and certain talents and gifts and all sorts of things into your work so you can be as happy and as successful as humanly possible. That is going to be part of the Cosmic Community membership that is reopening on Monday, the 23rd. So, all right, let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries and Aries rising. So for all of you wonderful Aries rising, sun and moon people, this energy is happening in your financial sector. And so for Aries rising in particular, this is going to be an energy where you're going to need to change something. Something is just calling you to shed your old skin, to shake things up, to liberate yourself when it comes to your finances. That could be the way that you create resources. That could be the day-to-day mundane routine activities you do in your job in order to facilitate income. But this could also be, a change in the way that you spend, you save, you invest your money. It could be that you want to make a major purchase and all of a sudden you decide that I'm going to just jump in there and I'm going to do it. And for the most part, I think it's a good thing, especially if you're somebody who's an Aries rising sun or moon who's looking to change your career or change your job or your work. In particular, this is a week where something could come up, an opportunity could come up, or you could just reach your breaking point. You could to pull the trigger, make that move. And that could actually be a more positive energy for Aries. The full moon is happening in your 11th house. This is a very social full moon. And this is a time where you can harness or revisit old opportunities that are coming back around from last month or from earlier this year to expand on your social circle, to expand on your networks, to cultivate really positive, really beneficial relationships, right? This is a really good time to socialize. Get out this weekend, party, connect with your friends. If you can't do it in person, do it however you can. You need social connection. This is a great time, especially for Aries, sun, moon, and rising at the end degrees of Aries. So anywhere between like 25, I would say even 23 to 30 degrees. This is actually a really great time for cultivating even like romantic partnership and one-on-one relationships and close friendships and business partnerships and things like that. So a good time to socialize, a good time to network, and a good time to shake things up when it comes to your finances. Liberate yourself from anything that's holding you back from having the financial freedom that you desire. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, this energy with Uranus is happening in your sign. Luckily, it's heavily mitigated. You're not going to have that Uranus, Saturn energy at the forefront quite as much this week. And so there's a lot of change. You've been wanting to break free and shed your old skin. You've been wanting to rebel against who you once were. This is a time where you might be feeling like you want to change everything about yourself and everything about your life. You might want to make changes to your career path. You might want to make changes to your relationships. You might want to make changes to your home environment. You might want to change the way that you show up in the world in a lot of ways. You might want to change your appearance. You might want to do like a big crazy makeover because you're just sick of it. Now's the time where that could actually be a little bit more fruitful. If you make a big dramatic change, make sure it's something that's like short term and reversible. And when it comes to your appearance, so I would say, nothing that's like permanent necessarily, like a cosmetic surgery that might not be the best right now. But a haircut, right, that grows out, or dyeing your hair with a temporary dye, or buying clothes or something like that, something smaller. I think that could actually help you to wiggle free from some energy that's been kind of holding you back. And I think that that would probably catalyze even greater change on a deeper level. But there's something here where you feel like you need to be free. You need more excitement. You need liberation from the day to day routine tasks, the stale, stagnant energy, the mundane reality of your life that you've created for yourself so far. You're no longer going to allow yourself to be placed in a box or in a cage. You want to be free, right? And so you're breaking free from other people's expectations and you're doing more of what you feel deeply and truly passionate about. And that's that Mercury Mars conjunction in your fifth house. The full moon is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. There's an old opportunity either from last month or earlier this year, or maybe even both, that might be coming back around for you to expand on your career, or it could even be an opportunity for a new career path or a new job or a work related project, or to put yourself out there to do something where you're going to gain more success, notoriety, and recognition. Now is a time where that can come back around for you. You could also have some sort of recognition coming in from somebody in a position of power and authority based on old work that you've done or something that you've created or put out there in the past. And that can come back around for you this week. Even if you're not working, this is about the legacy that you leave behind after work, or getting some sort of recognition for something, or connecting with somebody in a position of power and authority that you look up to. Maybe it's somebody from the past that's coming back around, and maybe you're able to follow their lead a little bit more easily this time around. Even if you're somebody who is not working and you're like, I was thinking about this earlier today, like for people who are maybe like stay at home moms or something like that, think about where in your life you are in a leadership role, or you could take on a leadership role. This is 10th house territory, right? This is full moon territory for you. So maybe, you're in the PTA and you want to step up and take on a leadership position. You want to fight for greater freedom, or something really important for your children's future, right? Those types of things. The same thing could apply to anyone who's not working when it comes to any area of your life where you could step up and you can shine, right? And this is your time to shine. So that's my forecast for Taurus and Taurus rising. For Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for Geminis, this Uranus energy is happening in your 12th house. There's like an unconscious urge to rebel, like a subconscious urge to rebel. It could also just feel like you're picking up on the collective energies, like the collective unconscious sort of etheric energies that are lingering right now around change and revolution, and maybe people wanting more freedom, wanting to express themselves more fully and completely amidst a period of time where that's not so easy to do, for a wide variety of reasons that are beyond the scope of this video. And so you might be feeling this restlessness, and maybe you want to speak up for somebody who can't speak up for themselves. It could be that you want to speak up for a family member who can't speak up for themselves, or it could be that a family member speaks up for you in a situation where you feel like you have to hide who you are, you have to hide your beliefs, or you can't speak up for yourself in one way or another. This is also a good way a good time to have conversations that are very eye-opening, awakening, outside of the box, maybe a little disruptive with family members. Or this could be a time where you decide to like pull the trigger on a move, or purchasing a home or something like that. The full moon energy is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of higher education, travel, adventure, connections to foreign countries, foreign lands. This is also the house of your perspective on life, your beliefs, your ideologies, your religious and philosophical value systems. This is where an old opportunity, maybe for an educational pursuit or some sort of travel plans, or a connection to somebody in a foreign country, or a connection to a new teacher, or an opportunity to teach. Lots of different things this could be, right? Depending on who you are. But some of these things, all of these things, one of these things can come back around for you and give you a second chance at success. And so if you wanted to go back to school and you put it off because there's too much going on in the world, there's too much going on in your life, it can come back around and you might be able to actually take hold of that opportunity. If you wanted to travel earlier this year, and again, too much going on in the world, too much going on in your life, it could come back around and you can actually take that trip, take that vacation, connect with that space choice. This is also where, your beliefs, your ideologies, the way that you view the world, it matters. And this is a time where you might want to celebrate that and share it with the world in some way. At the very least, you're going to be feeling much more optimistic, especially if you are a Gemini sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 23 to 30 degrees. This is a time where you're going to be feeling hopeful. You're going to see the potential that can be cultivated from everything that's going on in your life right now. And, that's going to be especially things that you've already started working on, right? Working on changing. It's like you see the potential and you get to enjoy that and celebrate that, right? And feel more optimistic and feel more hopeful and see where things are actually going. For Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancers, this energy of Uranus is happening in your Uranus stationing retrograde is happening in your 11th house for those who didn't watch the start of this video. Um, so Uranus is stationing retrograde in your 11th house. You have this Mercury Mars conjunction in your 3rd house. This is making a grand trine potentially with your descendant if you're a Cancer rising sign in particular, especially if you're a rising somewhere between 10 and 20 degrees. You're going to be feeling this very positively. You can have some very eye-opening, very awakening, very unusual and exciting conversations this week. This is a great week to connect, collaborate, and brainstorm. Get yourself out there and talk to people. You will have profound awakenings, and this will actually potentially could change the course of your life or change the dynamic or direction of your relationships. Maybe you didn't know that you and your friend were on the same page about something. Maybe you're not on the same page and they open you up to a different perspective. Whatever it is that's going on here, great socialization and a great week for having really just super fascinating conversations and connections with other people. I love the energy of this full moon as well. So this is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of, debt, joint finances, taxes, inheritance, other people's money, things of that nature. There could be an opportunity for an investment, or you could cash in on an investment from the past. Something involving investments or payouts or money that comes from an outside source can come back around in a very positive way. It could also be that you have another opportunity maybe to pay off a debt or to settle a debt in some way. This is also where you're going to be, so there's been a lot of fear, I would say, for Cancer risings. There's, this lingering energy in the background with Saturn transiting your 8th house that can bring up fear around your mortality and death, that can bring fear around finances, that can bring fear that stems from past experiences, past traumas in your life that are maybe not connected to the here and now, but they're there and they're coming up. You're going to be able to kind of step outside of that a little bit more this week, and you're going to feel a sense of relief, and you might even find the right way to heal through those past experiences, past traumas, wounds, anxieties, whatever it is that you're having to heal from. It could even be like addictions. That's a big 8th house thing. Compulsions, habits and routines that you realize are negative. You're seeing it and you're able to really pull yourself out of it this week. For Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leos, this energy is happening in your 9th house and in your, not your 9th house, your 10th house. I draw these, you guys, and they're like always super wonky. I'm definitely not an artist. I can't even draw a circle that isn't like lopsided like this. Anyway, this is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. And so you have this energy around needing to change something, or this energy where you're finally able to change something involving your career and your public reputation. So a lot of Leos might be feeling frustrated or even trapped in their career. It could be that things are feeling stagnant, monotonous. You just feel like you need to change something, and maybe you don't really know fully what that change is or what it looks like, or maybe you've been afraid that by changing what you need to change, you're going to, rattle some cages. You're going to have difficulty in certain connections, partnerships, and relationships, or it just isn't possible maybe because of those partnerships, connections, relationships, contracts, things like that. This is a time where you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to feel that inspiration. You're going to feel that really intense motivation, and it might be driven by financial need even, but whatever it is that you change this week when it comes to your career, your public reputation, your relationship with people in positions of power and authority, it's going to have a quick turnaround, quick results, and it's likely to be very positive and very liberating. It's like, I need to finally do this. I'm going to tender my resignation. I'm going to tell my boss how I feel. I'm going to take on that new project. I'm going to shift and pivot my niche in the area that I work in. I'm going to change something about my business. That could be part of it. And even if you're not somebody who is working, it could be something that you need to change involving a leadership position that you hold, or something that you need to change about your legacy that you're going to leave behind after death, or something that you need to change about your relationship with somebody in a position of power and authority, somebody that you look up to. It could be all sorts of different things in that realm, right? The public sphere. And so it's kind of like you need to change something, and those changes could have a very quick financial impact in a positive direction. It's like you get the idea and you're like, this is brilliant. I'm going to make lots of money. And then you like implement it right away, and it does, right? And so this is a great energy for Leo. The full moon energy is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. And so relationships are being highlighted for you this week in a very positive way. This is a good week to connect one-on-one with your partner. This is a good week where second chances to kind of reevaluate, reinvigorate, rekindle old romances, that they can come back around. If you've been having struggles with the Saturn Uranus square in relationship, and relationships have been more turbulent and more burdensome, now's a time where you can find a little bit of relief and reprieve, especially if you're a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising anywhere from 23 to 30 degrees. You'll be feeling this in a more positive way. This could also just bring a new relationship, or a focus on connecting one-on-one with people. A lot of really incredible benefits can come to you through your connections this week, especially on that very close personal level. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgos, this energy is happening with the Uranus stationing to go retrograde in your 9th house, which is the house of adventure. It's the house of fun and excitement. It's the house of learning that only comes through experience, through actually putting boots on the ground and doing something. It's about connections with foreign countries and foreign cultures. It's about your ideologies, your beliefs, that frame your reality through those experiences. And so this is a week where you might want to go out and have some of those experiences, some of those life-changing, adventurous moments. You might have an opportunity that comes up to travel and, get away and disrupt the current cycle, the current paradigm that you're in. You could have a new opportunity, especially for Virgos, to speak up, to say something, to share knowledge that shifts the perspective of other people. You could also have new knowledge coming in that changes your perspective in a very abrupt and very disruptive, but very positive way. So it breaks you out of stuck, stagnant, fixed ideologies, belief systems that are framing your reality in a way that kind of skews it, and puts it off kilter. This is a really great time if you need to publish something weird, if you need to say something rebellious, you're going to have people backing you, and this is actually going to go quite well. I mean, even if it is very blunt and very in your face. I like this energy for Virgo, speaking their truth, speaking their mind, speaking up in some way. I also, the full moon is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. This is a positive energy highlighting Jupiter there. This is a week where you might get recognized for an important project or the completion of an important project, especially by your coworkers. This is a time where, you could hire somebody if you are in a management position, or if you are, a business owner of some kind, and that could go quite well, and that could come to fruition. This is also a week where your work might be a little bit easier, or you might have a second chance at a new opportunity involving your work or involving your health, right? And it comes back around, and you take hold of it, and you feel good, and things go much better for you this time around. And so it's a good energy, a good time for Virgos. For Libra and for Libra rising. This energy of Uranus stationing is happening in your 8th house, which is the house of debt, joint finances, other people's money, power and control issues, especially pertaining to resources. It's also the house of fear. It's the house of deep psychological issues. It's the house of all things that have to do with the occult and magic and things like that. Um, I feel like because this is in trine with Mars and Mercury in your 12th house, you could be writing something or contemplating something or doing something behind the scenes involving magic, involving occult studies or sciences, even things like astrology, things that have been demonized and cast out as being evil or demonic or taboo that maybe aren't. You might be dabbling, right? You might be dabbling this week, and that would actually be a positive experience for you. It could open you up to new possibilities that you didn't even realize were a potential. So if there's a course coming up in like astrology or in something along those lines, this is a time where you could jump right in and it could be a very positive experience for you. This is also a really good energy for shaking things up and creating greater financial independence, but doing it in new and innovative ways. There could be an opportunity that comes to you out of nowhere from kind of behind the scenes to invest or to generate income or generate wealth through not your own hard work, but through maybe somebody else's. It could also be that your partner has a financial opportunity that comes in and disrupts things. And so, it's a good week for that, making those kinds of moves. The full moon is happening in your 5th house. This is a good energy for Libra, lucky Libra with that Jupiter retrograde. If you haven't watched my video on the Jupiter retrograde, which will be lasting until December 28th, make sure you do that after this video because there's lots of good stuff for you coming here. But this energy of Jupiter is being highlighted. So this is a desire or a need or a highlighting of opportunities that can come back around for you to do the things that you love, to connect with your own creativity, your own self-expression, to connect with your hobbies, your interests, the things that you do because you truly and deeply enjoy them, because they help you to connect with your joy, your inner child. This is also a really great energy where an opportunity can come to you through your children or for your children, or it can come back around involving your children in some way. And so, look forward to that. All right. And then for Scorpio rising. So for Scorpios, this energy of Uranus in a really nice trine here with Mercury and Mars while Uranus is stationing to go retrograde. This is happening in your 7th house, the house of relationships, and also in the 11th. This is a great week to have those important conversations. This is a great week to talk things out with people, to share ideas, to brainstorm, to bounce things off of other people. This is a great week to cultivate a greater sense of community, a greater sense of connection with other people, especially people who think outside the box or who think differently than you, or to share really strange outside of the box ideas with your friends, with people that you care about, with your community. This is an innovative, very mentally stimulating week. You're going to have a lot of really interesting, really fascinating conversations, and some of these conversations could literally be life-changing. So definitely get yourself out there. Don't hide away this week. Talk to people, right? Connect with people. The energy of the full moon is happening in your 4th house. This could be an opportunity coming back around to expand on something or beautify something or make things better in your home environment or in your family relationships or in your connections with your family. This highlights the need to improve on your home life and your home environment. This is a great weekend. It's on Sunday that this is happening. This is a great weekend to spend time at home or to do a home renovation project or something along those lines, or to revisit an old home renovation project, or to reconnect with family members at a distance who you haven't spoken to in quite some time. Good benefits can come from that you might not realize in the moment. Okay. And then for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. So Uranus is stationing to go retrograde in your 6th house, which is the house of work, health, and daily routines. We have Mars and Mercury in your 10th house. This is where there could be The need to liberate yourself from something involving your work could come around. And it could come up very quickly where all of a sudden you realize that you need to speak up. You need to stand your ground. You need to speak your truth. You need to facilitate change. You need to be the source of change or the source of rebellion in your work environment. This could also be a new job opportunity or a new work related opportunity that comes up for you very quickly, or a realization that you need to create a new opportunity. Maybe you want to launch a business or start a new work related project or change something about your work environment or your day-to-day work experience. Maybe you need to speak your mind to your bosses or your superiors. And even if you're not somebody who's working, maybe you need to speak your mind to somebody who's in a position of authority. And, it's important. And that's actually probably going to work out quite well for you, even if it's disruptive in the moment. This is facilitating and cultivating the change that you need in your life. It could be, if this is a health related issue that you've been dealing with, it could be that you need to speak your mind and stand up for yourself when it comes to your doctor or your healthcare providers and things like that, and say, no, like this is how I feel. This is my experience. I need something different. This isn't working for me, right? Or you could find a new provider or something like that. This could also bring disruption or a change involving your pets, involving animals, especially farm animals and things like that. For those who have that as an applicable influence, sometimes when I say really obscure things like that, people will be like, oh, I just bought 3 cows. Like, there'll be like 20 people in the comment section. I'm like, where are all these people buying all these cows? Like, um, so, if that's you, if you're doing some farming this weekend, or working with farm animals, let me know in the comments section. But the full moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is the house of ideas. It's the house of community. It's the house of communication. It's the house of short distance travel. This could be an old opportunity coming back around for you to take a short trip or for you to kind of get away. This could be an old opportunity coming back around for you to get some form of education that's really going to benefit you. Maybe you had to put it aside because you had too many burdens and responsibilities and things like that on the back burner. And now it's coming back around and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. And that could be highlighted at this full moon. It could also be that a very important conversation or important information is being highlighted and brought out into the open for you to kind of just become aware of, right? And to harness and utilize in some way. But yeah, I would say this is a good weekend for a short trip, a short getaway, if that's applicable to you, or to take some sort of short course or something like that, or a certification program. Now is a time where that could come up. And if it does, I mean, definitely, I would say go for it. For Capricorn and for Capricorn rising. So for this, for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, Uranus is stationing to go retrograde in your 5th house, which is the house of fun, joy, spontaneity, things that you love to do, things that, just literally just bring you pleasure and bring you joy. That's the 5th house. It's like creative self-expression. It's fun. It's entertainment. It's, doing things because they're good. They're fun. It's not for any other reason than that. And so, this Uranus energy could be bringing around the need to kind of rebel against your current circumstances, shake things up, and do things that are just for you, right? To enjoy your hobbies, to enjoy and engage with your passions. It could bring up new passions. Maybe you want to go back to school or take a course with this energy in the 9th house around the things that you're truly and deeply passionate about, around the things that bring you joy. Maybe you have an opportunity to speak or teach about a hobby, an interest, or something that brings you joy. In either case, this is going to be forming a grand trine with your ascendant sun or moon, especially if you're a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising anywhere from like 10 to 20 degrees. You're going to be feeling this in a very it's not going to be like, oh, this is like peaceful and like wonderful. It's going to be like you're feeling a surge of motivation. You're feeling a jolt of energy. You're feeling like, I need to shake things up. I want to feel liberated. I want to feel excitement. I want to feel alive. And you're going to feel alive. This is a really great time to take a trip to do something that you love that's really adventurous and really fun and really different. And this is a time where you're going to be maybe reinventing yourself in some way. And that could come back around or come up during this time, where maybe you want to change change your appearance or cut your hair or do something, make sure it's a short-term sort of thing. It's not like a long-term thing like cosmetic surgery or something like that. Again, this is not medical advice. This is general forecast, but this is good for like making small, short changes that are dramatic, but they don't necessarily stay. When it comes to your appearance. Also, the full moon energy could bring financial opportunities from your past back around into the forefront. It's like maybe you thought you missed an opportunity to collect some money or to cultivate more resources or to spend money on an important purchase. And maybe it was like, oh, you thought that this was the house of your dreams or the car of your dreams or the whatever of your dreams. And when you got there, sorry, I'm getting over being sick this week. When you get there, what you got there in the past, it was gone. Somebody else bought it and you're like, oh, I just missed it. No, it's never going to happen. Well, whatever it is, it could come back around this week and it could be better than before, right? It's like, oh, I thought I missed it, but this car, this is actually better. Or this house, this is better. This whatever, it's better. This boat, whatever it is you're wanting to buy, right? It's better than before. And so this time around, you'll know better. You won't miss that opportunity. You'll jump on it. And so that's the energy for Capricorn. It could also just be that more money's coming in this week, or you get a financial payout from something that you did or an opportunity that you did take hold of in the past, and it comes back around in some way. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this energy of Uranus stationing to go retrograde is occurring in your fourth house, which is the house of home, family, property, real estate. There could have been some tensions in the home. It's like, there's a restlessness, a need to change something, a need to maybe make a move. I actually know someone with an Aquarius rising who's doing that right now. Maybe she will close on her house or her apartment at that time. Interesting. Or Aquarius sun, I should say. This is an Aquarius sun. Anyway. So the Aquarius sun sign, maybe it is that you're closing on a house. Honestly, it could be for a lot of Aquarius people because the Uranus station in your fourth house is causing you to need to rebel against something or to change something involving your home, family, and property. This energy of Mercury and Mars could give a quick turnaround when it comes to financing. So like a mortgage or something along those lines for something involving your home, your family, your property. And so, if that's something that you're feeling really pulled toward and the opportunity arises, and you just go for it. Or if, you feel like you need to change something involving your family dynamic or involving maybe your inheritance or your will, kind of a very specific thing, but it's something that if you feel like you need to jump on it, now's the time to jump on it. It could also be a really powerful time of healing where you shake free from old ancestral karma or old trauma or old difficult situations from your childhood. And it's like, all right, I'm pulling myself out of this. I'm getting over it. And I'm changing this, right? I'm not going to continue on with this pattern over and over and over again. And that could be really empowering for a lot of Aquariuses. But you need to be liberated from something involving your family, your ancestry, or your home this week. And it's going to be a very intense push to do so. The energy of the full moon is happening in your sign, so you're going to be feeling much more optimistic. You're going to gain a newfound perspective on life, on your reality, on everything that's going on in your world. This is your time to shine, Aquarius, especially if you are an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 23 to 30 degrees. This is a time where you might be gaining some sort of recognition from something that you took hold of or grew or initiated in the past. It could come back around. It could also be that there was an opportunity that came to you earlier this year or even last month that you thought you missed, that, it was like, I just had too much on my plate. I said no, and I shouldn't have done that. Well, it could come back around this week. It could, see the light of day again. And this time you'll know better and you'll take hold of it. So a great energy for Aquarius this week. Overall, altogether, I really do love this. And then for Pisces and for Pisces rising. So for Pisces, this energy of the Uranus station is happening in your third house. This is a great social energy for Pisces. There are a few signs where this is kind of the case, but for Pisces in particular, your mind will be changed about something this week. It's kind of like you're going to have a very direct, very honest conversation, probably one-on-one with somebody, and you are going to change your mind about something that you were holding on to dear life for on that sort of mental plane. It's like, it has to be this way, right? I am fixed in my mindset. And then you have this conversation and it's like eye-opening and awakening, and it breaks you free from that mental rut. And you're like, oh crap, I was wrong. I'm changing, and it'll be just like that. It'll be easy. The other thing too is that you could change somebody else's mind, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you jump in and start arguments and disputes and force people to see things your way necessarily. But if you are very direct and very clear and straightforward with what you think and what you believe and your perspective, even if your perspective is a little odd or different or viewed as eccentric, people might, take it to heart. And the same token, though, you want to be open to having your own moments of awakening, your own moments of getting that newfound perspective from others. Because, like I said before, somebody could come in and they could change your mind, and that could be a powerful, really positive experience for you. In terms of the full moon energy, this full moon conjunct Jupiter, it's happening in your 12th house. This is a good weekend to kick back and rest. Maybe there's an opportunity for, engaging in some sort of creative or spiritual practice that you thought that you had missed, and it comes back around. Or it could even be something that you used to engage with on a regular basis, you used to study, you used to practice on a regular basis, that comes back around for you around this time period. And so that could be part of it, but this is mostly a good period for rest, for contemplation, for spiritual exploration. This is a good time to pay very close attention to your dreams, to spend time in meditation, or to take a little break or a little retreat from the day-to-day reality of work or daily life. Definitely that break can create opportunities that and benefits that you might not actually realize at the time when you're, going into it. So that's the energy for Pisces and for Pisces rising. And so that's the energy for all 12 signs. So let's get into the overview for next week. So let's make sure. Okay, yeah. Let's get into the overview for next week. So next week, August 23rd through 29th, it's actually a very pleasant energy. So we have a couple of weeks, you guys, of really good, nice, pleasant astrology. It's going to last through I think the second week of September. And so take advantage of this while it's here. I mentioned this at the start of the video, but I'll mention it again because it's worth mentioning. But next week we have Mercury, the planet of communication, the planet of ideas, the planet of intelligence, the planet of the way that we convey and understand information. This is exalted and at home in the sign of Virgo. Mercury is going to be making an opposition to Neptune and a trine with Pluto. This is a very intuitive, very perceptive time. People are going to be having, insights that come from a deeper place, from a deeper realm. This is a really good time for creative thought and creative self-expression that's very rational and grounded and rooted in something pragmatic and real. I love this energy for writing, for communication, especially for communication and conversations and connections around these more spiritual, more woo-woo ideals that are facilitated in a way that, again, it's more realistic, it's more grounded, it's more applicable and practical in real life. So great energy. We also have Venus in a really nice trine with Saturn, which is in retrograde. That's going to occur next week on Monday. And that's a mitigating influence on the Saturn-Uranus square. It's helping Saturn to have a little bit of an outlet to facilitate something more positive. And so with Venus and Saturn, they work actually really nice together, especially in trine. And so this could create a sense of harmony, a sense of balance, a sense of ease in relationships or just in general, in the area of your life where it's being impacted, where you can kind of come back to a state of equilibrium and you can change something that will create greater harmony, beauty, and balance in your life now and into the future. This is kind of like a long-term sort of situation where if you harness this energy now, the beauty, the tranquility, the balance you create in your life and in your relationships can be long withstanding. And so, good energy overall next week. I really, really love it. And so I will see you guys in next week's forecast. If you enjoyed this video, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you feel like your friends might benefit from the information I share with you today, make sure you share this video with them, like the video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.